In 1998, in a small Japanese town, there was a school, Tsubaki High School. And in that school, there was a classroom, room 4B, a place no one dared to enter. Whispers filled the halls. Stories of students who had vanished without a trace, of shadows that moved when no one was watching, of a presence lurking in the darkness. But Kenji Nakamura, he didn't believe in ghost stories. That a transfer student, new to town, he laughed off the warnings. Legends were for kids, myths, nothing more. But his friends, Akira, Hana, and Daichi, weren't so sure. One night, they decided to test the legend. A simple dare, just 30 minutes inside room 4B. They snuck in after school. The air was heavy, cold, suffocating. The desks looked normal, but something felt wrong. Then, bang, the door slammed shut behind them. Akira rushed to open it, his hands shaking. "It won't budge," he gasped. Kenji forced a laugh, but his voice was hollow. "Okay, funny joke. Who's messing with us?" No one answered. They began. The lights flickered, casting long, twisted shadows. A screech echoed through the room, the blackboard moving on its own. And then the words appeared, "You shouldn't be here." Hannah screamed. From the darkest corner of the room, something moved, not walked, not crawled. That IT slid, that a faceless shadow, writhing, shifting. Watching, that IT whispered, "Stay with me." The air thickened. Hannah collapsed. Daichi gasped for breath. The walls twisted, stretched. The room vanished into darkness, and then silence. Kenji opened his eyes. He was alone. The desks were gone. The floor was covered in dust. The walls? Cracked, covered in faded writings. Pleas for help. Something was wrong. He ran to the door, pulled it with all his strength. Locked. Then a sound behind him. Footsteps. Kenji turned, and there he was, a boy. Silent, expressionless, dressed in an old-school uniform. Kenji's breath caught in his throat. He had seen that face before. Saito Hiroshi, the boy who disappeared 30 years ago. Hiroshi tilted his head, his voice a whisper. "You're like me now." Kenji shook his head, backing away. No, this isn't real." Hiroshi only stared. "You shouldn't have entered." Kenji pounded on the door, screamed, begged for help. Through the tiny window, he could see his own classmates, laughing, talking, living their lives as if he had never existed. Kenji was a ghost, trapped. Days passed, or weeks, or years. Time had no meaning here. And then, the door creaked open. A new group of students entered, laughing, daring each other to stay. Kenji ran to them. "Get out! Get out!" But they couldn't hear him. The door slammed shut, and the nightmare continued. That a year later, the school-sealed room, 4B forever. But late at night, if you listen closely, you could still hear whispers, "Don't come in," or "You'll never leave."